Hello again, I'm Tripp Rogers, and this is Tripp's Take. Well, we got a lot of stuff to talk about this week. First of all, let's talk Oscar nominations. Really no surprise, I saw Oppenheimer and I thought it was wonderful. 13 nominations, including Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor, Best Supporting Actress, and Best Director. On the flip side, remember, it was released on the same day that Barbie was, and they called it Barbieheimer. That was the joke. And Barbie was a top-grossing movie too, but top-grossing movies don't necessarily translate into Oscars, especially when you consider that most of the Academy is, well, you vote for life. You're a member of the Academy, you are there for life. And a lot of the Academy members are older. And Barbie, while it got a Best Picture nod and it got a nomination for Best Supporting Actor and Actress, Margot Robbie was passed over for Best Actress, which in some ways is a crime because she carried that movie. As my daughter said to me, she created a character when there wasn't one. And so she deserves a lot of credit. And also director Greta Gerwig did not get a Best Director nod. And I think that's a crime too, because while I wasn't a big fan of Barbie, and I thought that Ryan Gosling was miscast as Ken. That was my opinion. And also shared with my fiance. I do think they should have recognized the effort that went into it. But the Oscars have never reflected box office in terms of popularity and stuff. Very rarely will a big box office movie win the Oscars. And this goes back many, many years. You always have a Best Picture of the Oscar that no one's ever heard of, or people then hear about it and rush out to see it. But it's funny because the Oscars, even though they keep honoring pictures that nobody has seen, happens to be the most popular award show on television. And it's been that way for many years. Why is that? Well, first off, it's Hollywood. It's movie actors. And the thing about the Oscars is it's the only award show that awards all the Oscars. You know, there's no second performance. I mean, they do some technical awards, and they have moved some of the Oscar presentations off of the broadcast. But again, that's the simplicity of the Oscars, is you're seeing awards and you're seeing, again, you may not care about who does sound or who does cinematic and who's the cinematographer, but it's still intriguing. And it's their moment in the sun. And, you know, you can't deny that. I think it's great. And the Oscars, looking forward to it. They will be in March. Jimmy Kimmel will be the host. And again, year in, year out, the Oscars is the top rated program of its type on television. In fact, I think it's won a couple of Emmys for its presentation. All right, let's move on. Football. Of course, the big news this week, Jim Harbaugh is going to leave Michigan and coach the LA Chargers. Now, that's been something that has been talked about since Brandon Staley was fired. That job in Los Angeles, a very favorable job and a job that is coveted because you've got the pieces there. You just need a coach to make it work. Justin Herbert's a great quarterback. I think the Chargers are a team ready to win. They're tired of being the second team in Los Angeles. They made a deal with Harbaugh. Harbaugh leaves Michigan. And, you know, you do not know what the NCAA is going to say. I got a funny feeling that Harbaugh went as far as he could with Michigan, but he still wants to scratch that NFL itch. And his brother, John Harbaugh, plays Sunday, of course, coaching for the AFC Championship with the Baltimore Ravens. So it'll be fun to have Jim Harbaugh back in the NFL. Of course, he was very successful with the San Francisco 49ers, taking them to a Super Bowl where he lost to his brother, John. I got to get that one in there. Other thing I want to talk about in terms of football, Jason Kelce. Oh boy, was he entertaining Sunday. I mean, Jason Kelce was able to be a fan, and he was able to be Jason Kelce. And I got to tell you something. He is beloved in Philadelphia. I mean, the Mummers costume on the day of the Eagles Super Bowl parade a few years ago, legendary. And if you don't listen to his podcast with his brother Travis, New Heights, I got to tell you, you're missing something. It's really good stuff. It's really funny. And Jason Kelce could be headed to retirement. I think he is. I think this is it for him. But as people have been saying in the media, NBC should rush out and sign Jason and Travis to do a Manning cast for a Sunday Night Football. And there are some rumors, perhaps Travis may hang it up. Of course, we'll wait and see because he's got a game Sunday and could have a game in a couple of weeks. And of course, there are so many people who do not want Kansas City to win. They do not want to see Taylor Swift at the Super Bowl, but I think it'd be kind of cool. I think it'd be fun. And the other part of it is Jason Kelce be coming along for the ride too. I think that would make the game certainly very, very interesting. All right, I'll weigh in on some picks now for you for this weekend in the NFL. It's the Baltimore Ravens against the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs, of course, the defending Super Bowl champions. Baltimore led by Lamar Jackson, number 1 seed in the AFC. They have been a very, very good team this year. John Harbaugh has them playing really, really well. Kansas City, Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, they've got a great defense. But I think home field wins out in this one, and I think Baltimore will go to the Super Bowl. Remember, they last won it, I think it was 10 years ago or 11 years ago, with Joe Flacco as their starting quarterback. In fact, that was the game they played against San Francisco in the Super Bowl. In the Superdome, remember when the lights went out in the middle of the game? Okay, on the other side, San Francisco, they have been a great team all year. I mean, they have been really, really good. I can't say enough of how good they have been because of the fact that, they seem to be steamrolling everybody. And it just feels like San Francisco is going to win. But listen, I've got a lot of friends from Detroit. I would love to see the Lions come in and win. I mean, sentimentally, I got to root for them, but realistically, San Francisco 49ers are the better team. I think home field wins out in this one. I do think this game will be closer than the Baltimore-Kansas City game because Kansas City, because Baltimore, I think, wants to make a statement, and they're not going to let up on the gas, as we saw with the Miami Dolphins game a few weeks ago, and they kept pouring it on against the Dolphins. Although, again, I hope it's a decent Sunday of football, and I hope the Super Bowl is going to be good, but that's a couple weeks down the road. Again, the picks, we're going to go with San Francisco and Baltimore, the number 1 teams, the home teams, to win this weekend. And that is Tripp's take for January the 25th, 2024. I'd love to hear your comments and questions about my podcast. Please email trippstake@gmail.com. Fantasy football players, the season is over. Mike and I will have our season wrap-up coming up and our much too early fantasy football predictions for next year. The Fantasy Sultans with the Hall of Famer Mike Sheck. You can find it on Spotify for podcasters and also on YouTube. Just search for Fantasy Sultans. Same places you can find the Tripp's Take. If you like the music of the 60s, 70s, and 80s, give a listen to WTRSradio.com online. Join us again next week. Until then, I am Tripp Rogers. Thank you very much for joining me. Make it a great one.